Okay, this is part 8. Now, the last tutorial I kept saying part 6 and on to part 7. I was wrong. That was last tutorial was part 7. This is part 8. So it might be a little confusion in there. I will label them correctly when I put them up on the site. So bear with me. Alright. So there are a few things that I've noticed that I should be tweaking really quickly. And that is like this ring. And I need to connect a center connection point in here, vertex, drag this back. Alright, much better. And make sure I watch these viewports. I think everything's good. It's a little extreme maybe, so level this out, bring it in. Okay. So it's not too extreme on the back side of the car. Now I also have this issue right here where it's a vertex floating out to Z on the keyboard for zoom extents out in the middle of nowhere. What I could do is this. I'm going to use the edge mode, grab these edges, ring, make sure it didn't go beyond that, which it didn't, and go connect, no slide, no pinch, one segment, and then use my cut tool from this vertice to right in the center here to there, and then I take this vertex to here. So these are all four-sided objects. Turn off cut. Could come in here and play with this. Let's say like that. Move this. Move this. And of course, make sure that that is fine. But it did allow me to keep the four-sided object polygon. Bring this in. Bring this down. Okay, so now this is where confusion in this whole mess. Let's bring it down to here. Down. These are all going to come down. Okay, same thing with these. Down. Down. Okay. So that does a really good job of cleaning up the lip issue. Now I could actually bring these guys back some. Okay, much better. Couldn't believe I didn't see that before. Top of the car looking good, side. Now I can start going through and cutting. So there's a few techniques I need to show you, and then I'm going to leave the rest of the car modeling up to you guys. Oops, let's delete the turbo smooth. And that is, I mean, we did the crease in the hood, so now you know how to increase or create, and in fact I'm going to undo the turbo smooth deletion. You know how to sit there and create the crease lines for areas that you want it to be nice and sharp by adding typology next to where you want it to not crease. I do need to talk about how to control the edges, like around the lights, the backlights, and we're going to go through all that as well as start cutting this model apart. So let's actually go to the back here and go into cleaning up the lights. I'm going to go to edge mode. Swing all the way back, Alt W this viewport, click an edge. Alright. Loop, goes all the way around the edge. And I'm going to turn on the edit poly and do chamfer. And see what adding segments will do. How close and how far. I can turn this on and off to see it geometry wise. And then I can turn it on and see it render wise. So it creates a nice sharp hard edge. And if I add a segment, really nice sharp hard edge, and bounce back and forth between the two. See what gives me more of the variable I'm looking for. I'm thinking I'm going to go with 1. Let's go with 1. Click OK. I do have to say I did like 2 better, but watch this. I'm going to grab this and go ring, connect, slide. In fact, before I start sliding, I'm going to cancel, turn this on, and turn this off. Okay, turn it on. Edge mode. Why can't I select one of these edges? There we go. Not bridge. Ring, connect, and slide it. Let's turn this off to see the slide. I can turn off wireframe when I got this on to really help me, and hit render. So I'm going to hit cancel and go render again. And it's not really helping either or. So I'm going to undo the chamfer. Turn this off. Go to the edge mode, ring, and go connect. Turn it back on. Slide. Render. Cancel. So I think really the best outcome was to grab this edge. Let me hit F4. Turn this off. Loop and the chamfer with the 2. I really do think that gave me the best under smoothing group option there is. Okay, so click OK. Alright. Do the same thing to this side. Loop, chamfer, and wow, I'm getting some really crazy geometry mess up here. So let's turn this off and see why. Because it didn't loop all the way through. So I need to grab this and go chamfer. Turn this on. Better. Still have some geometry to clean up. Cancel. Turn it off. See what kind of geometry problems am I having. So it's not extra vertices. Oh, I know why. If I do, chamfer and click OK and go to vertex mode, grab these vertices, zoom. See all the ridiculous vertices that are in here? It's kind of like wild and crazy moments. So target weld options to here, to here, here to here, here to here, here to here. Gives me still my 3 edges. And it looks like turn off target weld. That needs to be inset a little bit. Alright, same thing. Target weld. Bam, bam, bam. Actually, Okay. And move this. Move this. Turbo smooth. Nice and clean. Render. And I notice that there's some tweaking that really does need to go on with the vertices. Playing with the positioning of this. What happens when I pull it out more? What happens when I push it in more? So you can go back and forth. There. Just a little bit of tweaking, and it looks like all the vertices, are, other than those two, are fine. Good. Okay, so sharp edges in the lights now. That's cool. And on the keyboard for left viewport. I don't know how these vertices got offset, but let's fix them. Good. Alright, so I've taught you guys how to create the hard edges around the lights. Same thing would be done down here. I got turbo smooth on. Though that kind of looks like actually what it's supposed to be. Now I know, and that actually is doing what it's supposed to do. There's some cleanup to do in here. Also, you have the option of turbo smooth. I'm going to do render iterations of 2. Look how smooth and clean that is. Very nice. But also, I can do smoothing groups just in case I don't want high poly counts. So I'm going to drop this render iteration. Turn it off right now. Okay. I do know. Let me go unhide all. Unhide all. Hide selection. That. These are hard corner edges, so let's create that same system. Turn edit poly. Turn this off. Edge mode. So pretty much I need to run some segments to help prevent this from becoming a complete oval. Now, I can do this and chamfer, but then you run into, which that's not too big of a deal. Let me switch this back to 1 so it's not so hard. In fact, actually, let me do this. Edge mode, turn this off, and do all these edges. Chamfer, and I will have corners to clean up here in a sec. But see now, look how clean and sharp those edges are. Click OK. Now I'm actually going to undo the OK, chamfer, and do it by 2. Click OK. Now I really got to come in here and vertex. Turn this off. Zoom extents. And get rid of all this craziness. So I'm going to click these 3 and use, this time instead of target weld, collapse. Actually, not collapse. I don't want to collapse that. Okay, let's go to these 2. Connect. These 2. Collapse. Okay. And all these collapse. And this to here, turret weld. Maybe, or maybe not. Let's see what happens when I have this on. Okay, it's definitely a problem, so let's do or maybe not. Okay. Edge mode, 2 on the keyboard. I'm not sure chamfer is going to work in this instance. So I'm going to undo all that, Control Z. Oh no, I can't undo past the chamfer. Not a good thing. So let's see how I could work this to my advantage by going back through the list. Okay, so I went all the way back to redo all that. Pretty much what I'm going to have to do is literally cut across. That meaning, because I don't want to go all the way around the geometry, click here, cut to there, and go to there. Okay, same thing. Cut from here all the way to here. Now just to show you this inner one. Then I'm going to go to edge mode, turn off cut, backspace, backspace, Z, and let's select something so it turn on the turbo smooth option, render. It's much better. Still have to push around the vertices to get it to be smooth, but and I'll have to play with the edging. But it definitely looks better, and probably with this particular scenario, these guys just need to come out. Okay, what about pushing it in? Ooh, better, much better. Way better. Still a little bit more on, looks like this vertice. Let's pull it out, see what happens. Cause the problem, push it in. Better. Better. Okay. What about pushing this guy in just a bit? There we go. Much, much better. Still a little tweaking to do. Probably could separate this down a little bit. Alright. So got this corner down here. And again, it looks like I've got a lot of repeating to do, and this is such a mess too. Wait a minute. Backspace. 1, 2, 3, 4. There, it's not such a mess. And it looks good. Repeat the vertex. Repeat the same thing for below. Backspace. And let's see, it would be these three would be collapsed. These two collapse. Oops, need to connect them first, then collapse them. Take this point in and do cut from this vertex to there, and from that vertex to there. And get rid of the triangles in here. Did I do that to this as well? Yep. Okay. Looking good. So it's holding its shape. Probably still have these to tweak a little bit. It looks good. So that's what I would repeat. I'd do it to here. Probably this lower area. I'd do more of ring. Goes all the way around. Connect. Turn this on. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, it's holding its shape. Click OK. And ring. Well, you see that got very far. Okay, grab all these, connect, go in the opposite direction. Looks like it can only go so far before I have to tweak it by hand. Pull it forward. And okay, it's giving me the nice hard edge. So I just need to create the hard edge for this section here. And probably the easiest way is to grab these edges, connect, watch what happens when I slide it, turn this off to see how close I'm getting, and render. Very nice. And there is some vertex tweaking that's going to have to go on in here. These vertices just seem to be too out of control. Okay. Render. So if you want to define, let me go to Turbo Smooth, do render iterations twice. Yeah. So I definitely want to do some edge mode. This stays pretty strict, so I can try to pull off a chamfer, see what happens. Chamfer. Makes a mess. Probably because there's some weird stuff going on down here. There are. How many vertices are here? A bunch. 2. Weld. Okay. There we go. Go back to edge mode and chamfer. Okay, what happens when I drop this down to 1? Much better. Okay, turn this off. Basically, all I need to do now is target weld this to here and connect, turn off target weld, connect this to here, connect. There we have it. Okay, target weld, or collapse actually. Cool. Looking good. Back end. So, alright, it looks like the next tutorial, since I showed you guys how to harden out the edges in the back, you do the same thing to the front end. You do the same thing to the siding here. Just adding edges, play with it, see what happens. But next tutorial, which I think is going to be 9 actually, we're going to go through and start cutting up the model. So, see you in a sec.